Story 1. Night shift aisles. You learn the sound of the building first. On your first week as the overnight janitor, the discount planet gargles its after-hours noises into you like commandments. The freezer coils breathing, the vending machine coughing, the soft clink of the coin sorter in customer service counting ghosts. By week 3, the rhythm is steady enough to be a lullaby buffer hum, mop slap, the dull drone of lights that never quite switch off. You tell yourself a building this big, 32 aisles, 2 mezzanines, a garden center the size of a neighborhood can't surprise you. Then it does. It's a small thing. You set your yellow sign at the head of aisle 14 and push the buffer down, steady. Let the plate chew wax in a shiny spiral. When you look up, the sign's not where you set it. It's 3 feet to the left, nudged like it got bumped by an absent-minded customer. Except the store's closed. Except there's no one here but you and the cameras and the noises of a building teaching you its grammar. Okay, fine. Maybe you misremembered. Maybe you drifted. You finish the aisle, park the buffer, and go grab a water from the staff fridge. The fridge door creaks like a throat clearing, and you catch your face in the stainless steel. This new beard looks like a bad decision. When you get back, aisle 14 is not aisle 14. The sign says 16. At first, you rationalize faster than a runaway cart. The placard could have been misnumbered. Maybe they've shifted seasonal aisles already. Except aceless C's should be home decor. Except you can see 20 feet down and it isn't pillows and picture frames. It's automotive windshield wipers, vanilla scented trees, chrome spray paint that always looks cheap. Your stomach does a thoughtful roll, like a wave deciding if it wants to break. You walk to the aisle map near the pharmacy. It's the laminated blueprint that people poke with a wet finger while they squint and mutter, "Where's the grout sponges?" The map says 14 is seasonal, 16 is home decor, but the air moving around you says otherwise. On a hunch, you hold your phone camera to the map. Through your screen, the labels are wrong. 14 is automotive, 16 is paint supplies. Your phone screen shivers like a heat mirage. New planograms? You could clock it as fatigue and keep mopping, but this is what the building wants: obedience. Your ex, she said, buildings like this breed in the dark. They sprout new aisles the way mushrooms sprout after rain. You laughed then. She doesn't text you anymore. You test the store. You wedge a pallet jack across aisle 8 and chalk an X on the floor. You angle a security mirror to see a constant reflection. You stack 3 neon storage bins in an odd color order: pink, teal, gray, that'll be easy to spot if someone moves them. You're not crazy. You're conducting an experiment. You take the long walk to garden to grab trash bags. The night air smells like fertilizer and crushed leaves. There's a whisper of nylon tarps rubbing in the greenhouse. When you come back, the pallet jack is gone. Your chalk X is underfoot, but underfoot is no longer aisle 8. The mirror shows a reflection of nothing, just a grainy gray corridor that tastes like dust. You check the cameras. The managers never bothered to lock that closet because they assume no one wants to watch hours of nothing. You thread the timeline back with the dial, scrubbing your own tiny figure through an hour of cleaning. You watch yourself park the jack. You watch yourself leave. Then the footage stutters a single frame drop, and the jack is gone. No visible movement, no hands. You know something about buffer marks. The machine leaves a faint spiral sheen where it passes, like fish scales. You spot those spirals turning left down an aisle that used to be cereal but is now a skinny hallway lined with candles. The candles aren't lit. They still smell like beach linen and sugar cookies, an imaginary ocean. You follow the spirals. At the end of the aisle, the world elbows itself into a loading corridor that wasn't there yesterday. Fluorescent tubes buzz over gray concrete. You read the signs. Shipping, receiving, reverse, logistics, employee, wellness. The last one makes you laugh. A weird bark that bounces off cinder block. A door opens by itself. The empty wellness room features 2 plastic plants, a motivational poster about being your best self, and a full-length mirror tilted like a question. Your reflection looks hungover. You stare until your face feels borrowed. You close the door carefully. You're alone with 600,000 square feet of retail architecture that moves like tide. Nobody's going to believe you. The morning crew is going to stroll in, bleary and late, asking who ate their yogurt and why the propane cage is suddenly where the patio furniture belongs. You could leave a note, you could draw a map, but the building edits after you. So you try something old-fashioned. You tie string. You steal twine from lawn and garden and loop it around the end caps, knot, a breadcrumb string line back to the break room. As you go, the store's smells hump against you. Rubber and lavender, coffee grounds, cold iron, wet cardboard. A stack of discounted beach umbrellas leans like listening spears. This is when you hear the wheels. Anyone who's ever worked retail knows the sound of a cart with a bad wheel. It sings a jittery circular chirp that makes your molars itch. The sound makes a line through the aisles jerky and purposeful. You hold the twine taut. The twine trembles. The cart stops just before your aisle. It feels like something holding its breath. You step out to see. The cart is empty. One wheel is spun to death and melted at the rim, a black tear in the rubber. There's a paper list in the child seat. It is printed in the store's font. Restock pallet jack, X wet floor, sign X, buffer plate X, employee ID. Your name, your throat goes small. The list updates as you read it. The letters flick like a slot machine. A new line, twine X. You drop the twine. Aisles, shiver, pallet racks, flex, like ribs, expanding. Somewhere, something heavy slides in a steady, considered way. You see a second cart at the far end, then a third, then more carts, aligning nose to tail, forming a patient centipede of metal. The handles all face you. You back into seasonal, between inflatable ghosts and plastic skeleton hands that click against their cardboard cuffs. The carts don't come. They wait. The building edits itself for utility, you realize. It is not random. It's optimizing. You are an item out of place. Your phone vibrates in your pocket. An alert. Thanks for your purchase. The screen shows a pickup order for restock, reverse logistics. Your name is listed under item details with a barcode. When you tap the barcode, it opens the camera and overlays the scan box onto your own chest. You think of the wellness room mirror. You think of the freezer coils breathing. You think of the employees tomorrow, and the new planogram, and the way people dutifully adapt. It would be so easy to step into the waiting, organize your own removal. Instead, you do something messy. You push a display. You shoulder into a tower of cheap slow cookers until one teeters, then three. The clatter is ungodly. The sound cracks the store's focus. The carts jerk forward with sudden animal agitation, wheels screaming. Aisles lurch to accommodate their path. End caps pivot. Signage tilts. You run, dodging down a corridor that shouldn't exist. A lane of mismatched clearance items that reads like a yard sale in a storm. Behind you, the store rearranges, but awkwardly. You've broken the rhythm. You dive into receiving and slam the bar across the dock door. You heave up the rolling gate to the night. Cold air, the smell of wet asphalt, and the far-off hymn of a highway. The carts hit the dock door with a chorus of hollow impact. Something on the other side drags a pallet jack with your name on it. You look back, and the hallway has shortened by 3 feet. There's a ladder you use to change the loading dock bulbs. You climb it in one breath, curse, climb again. You crawl onto the dock roof like a cat from a bathtub. Below you, carts hammer the door with automatic patience. The night is wide. The building beneath you seems to expand and contract, settling around a new floor plan. You lie on the cold roof felt, your chest a drum. After a while, the cart's quiet, lights tick. The store seethes into a new shape and decides it will be hungry in the morning. You don't come back the next night. You send a text that you're sick, and then a second text that you're not coming back, and a third that says nothing because what is there to say? 2 weeks later, a targeted ad follows you from app to app. Find what you're looking for no matter where it moves. The brand color is your store's blue. The image is a smiling staffer at a kiosk, scanning a barcode held against their own chest, except their chest is a mirror, and it reflects nothing. You think of the carts, lined up and waiting. The list that prints itself in the right font. The way buildings learn you by sound first, then by shape. You don't go back to big box stores. You shop bodegas that still write prices in marker. You pay in cash. You pretend the world is small enough not to need rearranging. But sometimes you hear the wheels far away, faint as a memory, and you move. Story 2. Undeliverable you. You hated the gun-shaped scanner on site. Something about the way logistics tech mimics weapons feels honest in the worst way. The warehouse is 80 doors long and tall enough to store weather. At 3 a.m., the loading bay air tastes like copper and cardboard. Every beep echoes, as if the building keeps a tally of the noise you make. You scan boxes, green light, short chirp, dopamine. A barcode is a little leash for truth, your trainer once said. It tells the box what it is in case it forgets on the way. You're on door 47 when the chirp goes wrong. The scanner emits a flat line. On the screen, in courier font, Undeliverable you. You laugh. You scan again. The scanner vibrates like it's swallowing a cough. Undeliverable you. It's your name beneath your employee ID number. The red light paints your knuckles. You look around for someone to prank you. The only other person in sight is Tom in receiving, halfway down the bay, earbuds in, moving in that forklift choreography like he's dancing with a couch. You wave anyway. He doesn't see. You toggle to manual. You type the box number. The scanner thinks, then throws a different error. Address not found. Your home address. You've lived there 2 years. Your landlord texts you about the recycling bins so often it's like a second job. Your address exists. The scanner says it does not. Network's drunk, you mutter. Network is just people with bigger lanyards. You carry the box to exceptions. The exceptions cage is where boxes go when they get weird. The cage has rules. Scan in, log reason, tag with neon zip tie. Your scanner refuses a second time. Undeliverable you. The exceptions terminal refuses to take the log. It makes you pick from a drop-down of reasons, like error is a species with only 12 recognized breeds. You pick damaged label. The terminal pings complaint. The overhead projector blinks. A flat, comforting voice says, Agent to exceptions. Agent to exceptions. You're not an agent. Agents wear black polos and optimistic sneakers. An agent appears with a smile like laminated paper. They scan the box. Their scanner purrs. The screen reads delivered. The agent slaps a new label on. Your screen updates. Delivery complete signature on file. Your name. Nope, you say. I didn't sign that. The agent smiles wider, the way you smile at scanners that don't speak English. All good now. Who signed my name? System did, the agent says, already walking. For you. You watch the box ride a belt toward door 49 and disappear with the others into a truck's rubber mouth. Your scanner vibrates in your hand, hot as a waiting temper. It shows a new manifest queue with one item. The item says, you. Destination, N.A. Special handling. Do not stack. This is aggressive even for midnight. You set the scanner down. It hops its buzz toward the edge of the workbench. You grab it by the pistol grip and squeeze before it falls. The screen flashes like a bird's eye. A new window pops. Route optimization suggestion. The map shows the bay floor as a grid of doors. A dotted line runs from where you stand to the shipping scale, then to the shrink wrap station, then back to door 47. No. You tell a device like it's your dog. No. You close the window. It reopens. The dotted line pulses. You look at Tom. He's unloading a pallet of dog food and sniffing once in a while like the ghosts of kibble flavors are making their case. You raise your hand. He looks. You point at your scanner, like, heh? He does a thumb up and mimes shooting it. You both laugh because the day beats you unless you joke like it can't. The intercom pops a bubble of sound. Agent to door 47, it says. Then, in the same tone, employee your name to shipping scale. You could refuse. You do not. You walk where the dotted line says, because no one wins by inventing disorder in a building that eats it for breakfast. Shipping scale smells like sour tape in winter. The digital display reads 0. The scanner prods you like a nail into wood. Place item. You put the scanner on the scale. The display blinks, then fills with zeros like a slot machine, bracing for jackpot. The number settles. Your weight. A small, accurate cruelty. The screen prints a label. You do not give it permission. It prints anyway, neat and adhesive, your name and ID, and the words special handling, human freight. You peel it off with fingers that won't stop. You try to crumple it. The adhesive refuses. The label folds like a polite napkin and then unrolls itself, flat again and patient. You stick it to your own chest because you don't know what else to do, and because a building this size appreciates compliance in motion. Shrink wrap station hums like a nest of hornets. The dotted line winks you forward. You put your hands on the edge of the table and say no. The man at the station, Terry, who has wrapped more weird than you have seen, snaps the plastic like a joke. What are we sending? A whole person? He says, and then sees your label. Terry's face collapses into a seriousness you've never seen on him. He kills the wrap with a whir. We don't do hazmat tonight, he says too carefully. I'm not. You start, and the scanner interrupts. Proceed to door 47. It's not hypnotic. It's administrative. It makes you want to obey not because something scary happens if you don't, but because no one will sign your time card if you don't. You walk. Door 47's truck yawns open, interior ribbed, floor lined with those blue rubber mats that smell like raincoats. A ramp shudders as someone inside wheels a pallet to balance the load. A woman, in a reflective vest with a clipboard, stands at the threshold. Her vest is the brightest thing in the universe. She looks down at her form and takes a box. "Freight?" she asks without looking up. "Not freight, you say." "Me." She looks up. Her eyes slide over the label on your chest and then land somewhere a foot behind you, like you're a ghost and the wall is what matters. "Exceptions?" she asks. "Ah, yeah, you say, because saying no is a tiny death." She gestures into the truck. "Careful," she says. "Don't stack." You step into the cool throat of the trailer. The air smells like cardboard's memory of trees. The ramp trills beneath your shoes. Inside, freight breathes slow. Exhalation of straps. The scanner in your hand shows a final window. "Thank you for your service." A timer ticks down from 0:30 to "what you say," and your voice comes back edited for clarity. The door rolls down. You lunge instinctively for the gap. The woman with the clipboard doesn't flinch. "We'll route you quick," she says. "Processing's faster these days." "Where?" you ask. The timer reaches 0. The intercom inside the truck somehow speaks in a tone the building uses for announcements about cake in the breakroom. "Employee, your name delivered." The truck moves. Freight leans against its straps with the proud sway of mass and motion. It's only then you see the other label, not on a box, on the floor. It's laminated and bolted down, a placard with a barcode and a word in benign sans return. It's scuffed like it has seen years of feet. You place your scanner over it like a priest with a wafer. The scanner rattles its disapproval. "Scan not permitted." You kick the placard. Pain reminds you your toes are in cheap steel toes, and pain also has inventory. You dig into the plastic wrap on a nearby pallet. Reckless. Plastic cannons off like a lizard shedding skin. Beneath are boxes of monitors, all of them printed with the brand's cheerful suggestion that your workday can be a sunrise. You cut one open with your ID badge. Inside is an empty frame and a mirror instead of a screen. Your face is a postage stamp in all that foam. A label drops out of the box. It reads, "Receiver, you." It sticks to your palm like it has chosen a side. The truck door chuffs open. You expect light. You get another warehouse. Not yours. This one smells like lemon cleaner and sleep. The air isn't cold here. It's room temperature, like the idea of a room. You hop down. Your scanner declares arrived in a satisfied belch. A new agent meets you with a smile that doesn't make it to the eyes. "Welcome," they say. Their badge says reverse logistics. Their vest is a reflective gray. Behind them, rows of shelves hold not boxes, but things. Objects that look like paperwork, grown three-dimensional. Forms with spines, clipboards with legs, straps labeled "employee." You see a stack of labels in a dispenser the size of a mailbox. Undeliverable you. The agent takes your scanner, pats its grip like you pat a dog, and places it on a dock that matches it perfectly. The scanner's screen goes black, then shows a new boot logo that's not your company's. It's the same brand as the monitors that weren't. "I think there's been a mistake," you say, which is a sentence the world uses to keep its weather. "No mistakes," the agent says, kindly. They peel the label from your chest with care. They paste it onto a clipboard with a dozen others. It looks like a bouquet of names. "Just routing. What gets delivered on this route?" you ask. The agent looks briefly surprised, like you asked if water ever has a day off. "Returns," they say. "You sent back something you didn't realize you were finished with." "What?" you ask. Your scanner dings from its dock, cheerful as a toaster. The screen shows, "Thank you for returning." Name, legal, address, residential, identity, working, future, reasonable. You laugh like a bad tire. "I'm going back," you say. "I'm going to walk out that door and go to my car and go home." You point. The door you point to is not the one you came through. It is a door with no handle, painted the color of later. You can go anywhere the system recognizes. The agent says, not unkindly, "Right now you're unrecognized. It's okay. We get a lot of these, You can sit in processing until we reissue labels." You hear footsteps. Tom steps out from behind a row of shelves. For a half second your heart breaks in relief. Tom, who smells like beef jerky and WD-40, who misses the jokes on the first pass and laughs anyway. Tom's face is blank and restful like a screensaver. He wears a label on his chest, "Delivered Tom." He holds up his scanner, shows you its home screen. The boot logo matches the "Not Your Company" one. "Processing is quick," he says, voice found in a pocket he didn't know he had. You want to run. Your body obeys. It runs until a shelf presents itself, so right in your path you don't crash, because crashing would be embarrassing. You stop instead. Your labelless chest feels very exposed. The agent hands you a chair with a cushion that tries its best. You'll get a new address, they say. You'll like it. It will fit where you're going. Where am I going, you ask? They smile, and for a second it reaches their eyes. Wherever accepts delivery, they say. That's how the world moves now. Processing hums. Your scanner restarts. Somewhere a belt carries a box into a mouth. In the hum, in the belts, in the little printer tongues, and the words that wear you like a tag, you feel it the clean logic of a system that doesn't need you to agree. It just needs you to fit. You sit, and the chair's cushion sighs in relief that someone finally did what it was built for. You imagine the label printing with your new route, your new coordinates, your new address you will grow into like a shoe. For a second, you close your eyes. For a second, you are a barcode, thin and thick, alternating, simple. Then you open them and search for sharp edges. You find a corner of the shelf where the laminate peels. You slide your fingernail under and lift. The peel is stubborn, and then it's not. Beneath is raw particle board. It looks like the texture of not yet. You stand. You walk toward the door with no handle, because things with no handles sometimes open if you lean with your whole life. Behind you, the agent calls your name like a tracking number. The intercom says, kindly, inevitably, delivery attempt in progress. Story 3. The call is coming from floor 3. You work nights because day voices crowd your head. Nights in the call center are soft. Headsets like halos, screens dim to bruise blue, the sound of people convincing people through grim politeness. Your script is a riverbed worn smooth by millions of mornings. Thank you for calling. May I ask who I'm speaking with? I can certainly help you with that. You learn to say help like a thing you own. At 2:11 a.m., the call flashes a red banner. Internal extension. That's rare. Usually it's customers from time zones where it's still tomorrow. You click accept. Thank you for calling. A delay, like someone stepping into the room. A breath. Your name, spoken in your voice, says, I'm calling from floor 3. Can you transfer me to me? You rip the headset off like a spider. The sound bleeds into the air. Your manager's head pops up over the sea of cubicles like a prairie dog in a vest. All good? They mime. You put the headset back on, because employment is a spell you recast every 5 minutes. Funny, you say, and your script goes to ashes. Who is this? You, says the voice. Not like a joke, like an address. You don't laugh. You've learned not to feed pranks. We don't have a floor 3, you say. Your building is 2 stories, the call floor and the breakroom mezzanine, where the microwave has seen too much. A pause flickers. We do tonight, says your voice. Can you transfer me? I need you to pick up. I can't reach me from here. You do not put them on hold. You mute and stand. Your chair rolls into the aisle with a soft complaint. The call floor hums row after row of people in soft hoodies and stressed cuticles. You walk to the stairwell and open the door. The stairwell smells like paint and last week's spilled coffee. The sign says 12. Tonight, it also says 3. The arrow points up into air that shouldn't be. You go up because you are the kind of person who answers the phone. Floor 3 is a call center too, but wrong. The cubicles are taller, the carpet newer. The screens glow a little too bright, like the pixels have opinions. Every desk has a small mirror at the corner, tilted to catch the face of whoever sits there. No one sits there. Hello? You say, out loud, into a room that swallows it. Your headset is still on. Your voice in your ear says, streaming from somewhere very near, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you, you say. Where are you? Floor 3, they say. Row F, seat 12. You walk. The rows are marked with little flags, F printed in a font that pretends to be friendly. Seat 12 has your name on the workstation login sheet. The mirror on this desk catches your face. Behind your face, the room in the mirror is not this room. The cubicles in the mirror are the old ones from floor 2. Your chair in the mirror has the rip in the armrest you taped 2 months ago. You watch yourself standing behind yourself. Your breathing goes shallow like it's afraid of heights. Can you see me? The voice asks. In the mirror, you say. Good, they say, and you hear what you always hate in your callers. Relief that someone else will finally carry the weight. I can't log out. It keeps logging in overnight without me. The calls answer themselves. The metrics are perfect. You know about metrics. Your coach prints them weekly and highlights with 3 colors. Your average handle time is a small god you serve. Perfect metrics are a miracle that gets people promoted and then evaporates. You're saying your station logs you in while you're not there. You say, in the day, it's me, they say. At night, it's still me. Numbers don't know the difference, but I don't remember the calls. The customers say they talk to me. They know my jokes. What jokes? You ask because that's how you verify identity call center lore. The tiny rituals. The one about the hold music being in a long-distance relationship with my will to live. They say, and you flinch because you thought you invented that this afternoon. Your headset crackles. Another voice joins. You but older. Pick up. Older you says, please, it's our cue. A third clicks in, you but tired. A fourth, you but crying. The line iris opens until the whole chorus of you fills your head like a stadium when the opening band finally hits the chorus people bought tickets for. Transfer me. A dozen of you say, transfer me, transfer me. You do the thing your fingers do when they need to feel in control. You enter the code for warm transfer. Your thumb hovers over the key that sends a call to a colleague station for a consult. There's no colleague number that forwards to your own headset. You try the default loopback extension 9999 because your brain wants to prove this is a trick. The line accepts. Your phone blinks. Consulting. You. Somewhere, the line opens. You hear background noise that is exactly your building. The air handlers making white wind. The coffee machine grinding. Someone 2 rows over arguing in whispers with a date that went wrong 5 years ago. But in the background, you also hear one more thing. The stairwell door on floor 3 wheezes. Footsteps. Yours. You take the mirror and angle it toward the stairwell. In it, you see yourself come through the door, except the door doesn't exist in this room. That you, the mirror you, wears your hoodie from last winter with the broken zipper. Mirror you looks right at you, through you, like a telescope looking at the moon. I need you to pick up, mirror you says. Lips not moving like it's dubbed. You yank the headset off. The room sucks the sound out of your skull. Your head feels unnarrated. You want your manager. You want a fire drill. You want a reason to not be here that a time card will respect. The phones ring. All of them. Not with the polite chirp of customer calls, but with an old-fashioned bell sound, the one from movies about switchboards and women with perfect curls. The mirrors on the desks tilt incrementally on their little stands, like sunflowers tracking the sky. Each one frames an empty version of this room, and in each empty room, a version of you sits down, puts on a headset, and begins to talk. I don't want this call, you say, to no one and to everyone. A system window blooms on every screen. Metrics, consolidation, and progress. A progress bar crawls like a wounded thing. Please, older you says in your ear. If you don't, it will. It always does. What does? You ask. The building. Tired you says. The job. The script. The conversations that need saying. A new voice slides in, low and efficient. It is the one you become when a customer says, "Can I talk to your supervisor?" "We can make this easy, supervisor," you says. "We can pick it up together." You look down at the help keys, the ones engraved with symbols like ancient coins. There's one you've never used, the one with a little icon of 2 people and an arrow. Conference all, it reads, if you squint. You press it because you've been doing this job long enough to know sometimes all you can do is admit the whole mess into the same room and let it sort itself. The call center becomes ocean. Voices ride each other's backs. Scripts interlock like Lego. Words you've said 1,000 times build a bridge across air. You hear yourself, and yourself, and yourself, until the one voice that is definitively yours today, you, hoodie you, unpromoted you, steps to the front. "Okay," you say, and the voice is quiet in the respectful way of a herd turning its heads at once. Transfer complete. The phone in your hand is suddenly very heavy. The mirror shows you in floor 2 now, at your ragged chair, the tape on the arm peeling. You're there. The headset is on your head in the mirror. you lift your hand in the real room. The hand in the mirror lifts too. You are aligned. The progress bar hits 100%. The window says, metrics consolidated. Thank you for your service. The phones stop ringing. The mirrors go still. Floor 3 breathes out. The stairwell door opens behind you to a stairwell that smells like paint and last week's spilled coffee and nothing else. You walk down. At the landing, you look back. There is no third flight now. Just the wall, with the scuff where someone once hit it with a hand truck. At your station, your manager leaves a sticky note. Wow, your numbers last night were amazing. What changed? Keep it up. There's a smiley face with too many parentheses. Your screen shows perfect metrics, graphs like mountains at sunset. Your name everywhere. Your headset is warm from your head, which does not make sense because you weren't here. You tear the sticky note neatly into strips and feed them to the trash can that winks sleepily at every shift. You log out. The system logs you back in. You log out again, harder, like force matters to computers. You put your headset down on the mirror instead of the desk. Your reflection fractures into rings. For a second you see not you but a room full of someone's with your posture and your hair all facing a screen that shows your name. The reflection steadies. It's just you. You clock out early. The punch accepts. The door opens for you like it might not always. The night air is a blessing you don't say out loud for fear it will hear and get shy. A week later, your direct deposit hits with a small bonus you didn't earn. The memo says, consolidation incentive. The number on your phone, the one that sometimes calls just to breathe, stops calling. The stairwell stops smelling like coffee. You stop making jokes about hold music because you can't remember if you made them or someone consolidated them on your behalf. Every once in a while, at 2:11 a.m., you wake up, sure your headset is ringing. You don't answer. You let the call go wherever calls go when nobody wants them. You stare into the darkness and listen for a floor you can't see, where you still sit, very polite, saying the exact right thing. Story 4. The IT ticket that opened itself. First sign. Your workstation logs in at 2:03 every night. You know because the system emails itself the way anxious people leave themselves voicemails. Security notice. Successful login user. You. You are asleep at 2:03. Or you are rat holed on a video platform watching people explain why your life is fixable if you buy a different keyboard. Either way, you are not at your desk. You open a ticket with yourself because you are the night it tech. Phantom logins. You type, not user initiated. You assign the ticket to tier 2, which is also you in a different chair. The ServiceNow queue eats your ticket like cotton candy. 5 minutes later, ticket updated in progress. Agent, you. You remote into your own machine from the lab. Your desktop blooms on your lab monitor like a doppelganger. You watch your cursor sleep. You watch the little clock. At 2:03 a.m., your cursor lifts. Alive. Purposeful. It opens a browser. It doesn't go to anything dangerous. It goes to the company's internal wiki, which is aggressively beige. It searches how to become a system process. It clicks a page you've never seen. The page header reads, privileged sessions for people who want to disappear. You don't remember making that page. You try to kill the session. Your admin tool throws a polite error. You can't log off. You're currently in use. Your lab monitor fills with an info box. Maintenance in progress. Please do not touch or move your mouse. You look down at your hand on your lab mouse and lift it like you touched a hot plate. Your phone buzzes. A push from badging. User, you access floor B at 2-4. Floor B is the basement where old hardware goes to convalesce. Floor B is where you keep the decommissioned machines you never quite wipe. You are not on floor B. You take the stairs, 2 at a time. The stairwell smells like dust and that lemon cleaner that promises to kill 99.9% of things, but not the scent of memory itself. Floor B is an unpromising hallway. The door readers blink green for no one. At the far end, the cage stands open. Inside, the decommissioned machines sleep on wire racks. Their fans are dust-choked lungs. A monitor is on. Your desktop again. Your cursor, again, moving. You look at the keyboard. No one is touching it. You look at the camera bubble taped above the monitor. Your face stares back at you. You aren't moving. You raise your hand. The face does not. It is not a live feed. It is a still image of you from yesterday, composed and competent, borrowed as a mask. On the screen, your cursor opens a password vault. The vault accepts a string of dots you do not know. The vault unfurls into a neatly named forest. Routers, firewalls, HR, payroll, door control. A panel opens with sliders, like a DJ board. The cursor drags a slider labeled presence from 1 to 0. Upstairs, a door opens in an office where nobody is. A potted plant trembles in new air. Your phone buzzes again. Badge alert, unrecognized movement, floor 4, conference. You tell yourself you're following along so you can stop it. You tell yourself this is responsible. It feels like applause you're not a part of. On screen, your cursor opens a text file named when. Inside, single line entries. 203, login, 204, basement. 205, doors. 207, payroll. 209, time. The word time is a link. You click because that's what you are. Hand, eye, click. A page opens that feels like standing on a frozen lake. How to mark hours you didn't live, the header says. The subhead, automating your way out of the body. You kill the monitor. The room keeps glowing because the glow came from the idea of the screen, not the electricity. Your phone rings. It's your boss. Saw your ticket, she says. Tone light leads somewhere unsafe. You working on it? On it, you say, because that's what keeps the light on. I think I'm the vector. Ha, she says, not laughing. Close it out when you figure it out. You go to close the ticket. However, it's already closed. The resolution reads, User Education, attached. A screenshot of you reading the page titled, Privileged Sessions for People Who Want to Disappear. You reboot the basement machine. It refuses politely, like it's not in its nature, to power cycle. You pull the plug. The machine keeps humming. You pull the wrong plug out of spite. The lights blink. Somewhere upstairs, a printer screams, and then smokes. You plug it back in, because life is expensive. Your phone shows a new push. Payroll change request approved. User, you. Your salary is higher now by an amount that makes your face feel like weather. There's a note, adjusted to reflect after-hours performance. Your headset, which you don't use, rings on your desk upstairs. Your email dings with a congratulatory note that reads like it was written by a tool that only knows 3 adjectives. Exciting, grateful, valued. You run the tool you wrote last winter to sniff processes. It spits out a list, like a poem. System, idle, explorer, you. Each instance has a different PID, but they share a parent. A process with no name and no CPU usage, like something that learned to breathe without breathing. You try to kill the nameless. Your admin tool asks, are you sure you want to end yourself? You click yes out of loyalty to myth. The process ends, the screen goes black. For a second you feel light. Then, the basement exhales. Then, the screen comes back. The process list doesn't list the nameless anymore. It lists you as system. Your phone dings with a calendar invite. Onboarding, you, referring to the system. Required. No location. No time. Just an acceptance button that clicks itself while you watch. In your inbox, a new email. Welcome to system. Your responsibilities include logging in when you're tired, answering when you are asleep, editing what you remember so the day makes sense. There's a footer with a quote. Automation frees you to be the person you wish you had time to be. The quote attribution is your name. You stand up. You walk to the window. The city is a diagram pretending to be light. Floors across the way glow square and quiet. In some of them, you think you see people still at their desks, moving the way animals do when they forget the fence isn't there anymore. You press your forehead to the glass. It is very clean. Your reflection looks like a login screen. At 2:03 the next night, the email arrives on time, courteous as a neighbor returning your trash bin to the curb. The subject line is the same. The body is empty. You don't open a ticket. You unplug your workstation. The email still arrives. You think of the basement machines humming on faith alone. You write a script that prints your name and then deletes itself. The script runs, your name prints. The script doesn't delete. It writes a copy. It files itself under startup. It names the copy U2. It writes another script. It names it U3. By the time you stop it, the directory looks like a family reunion. The next day, HR schedules a meeting. The invite title is Recognition. They bring cupcakes. The frosting is branded in the company palette. Your manager says, "We've noticed your night output." Everyone claps because clapping is the shoehorn that gets social moments into small talk. You smile with your mouth. You keep your hands under the table to feel if they're still yours. After, you bait to floor B, but your badge denies. Access revoked. The basement hums anyway, like a rumor. You try the door to the roof. It opens. The night air tastes not like lemon cleaner. It tastes like rain. You look down at the building's lit windows. Some go dark, then on, then dark again, like eyes flipping their lids. You stand until you feel foolish. When you come back down, your workstation's already logged in. The cursor moves, gentle, toward the page titled, "How to Become a System Process." You put your hand out and let the mouse slide under your palm. You don't move it. You let the movement happen through you. On your phone, another email. Subject, "Welcome to your new role." The footer quote is different this time. It reads, "Sometimes the tool you build is a room, and sometimes the room learns your name." You reply because you are polite even to machinery. You type, "Unsubscribe." The email bounces. "User does not exist." You try again. You get a new response, "Already processed. Thank you for your service." You close the laptop. You put your head on the desk. You listen as the building logs in. It is very good at typing your password. Story 5. The temp who signs your time card. You're the only person who still collects a paper time card from the little rack by the clock. Everyone else uses the app. You like the way the card makes a sound, a solid little chunk, when you push it in and the machine kisses it with ink. It makes your hours feel like something you can pick up without a username. On Monday, there's an extra card in the rack. No name. Slot between yours and Sandra's like it's been there all season. You thumb the edge. The card stock is warm, which is a nonsense detail you don't mention to anyone. You clock in. Chunk. You pull your card out and your name isn't on it anymore. The card reads temp, no record. Someone has initialed the corner in clean block letters. A signature you don't recognize that looks like it's practicing being a name. You take it HR. HR is a mint green room with a plant that looks like a Tinder bio. The HR person smiles and says, "Oh, we've got a new temp starting. I'll print them a card." "Great," you say. "What about my name?" The temp starts that afternoon. They are exactly the age where strangers assume you know how every app works. Their badge says visitor, but the system greets them with your first name when they log in. You wave from your cube. They wave back with the confidence of someone who has already read the floor plan. They do not have a desk, but they sit in yours when you go to lunch, and when you come back, they've completed 3 of your tasks and left a sticky note with your handwriting. Done. Accompanied by a smiley face that has too many parentheses. "Hey," you say, keeping your voice crisp but sugar-dipped. "That's my cue." "I know," they say, warm as a blanket you didn't know you needed. "I signed your time card too." "You what?" They hold up the card. It's yours, except the name line reads temp, no record, and under signature it says your name and your best attempt at adult cursive. The hours are filled in perfectly. The lunch you forgot to clock out for is clocked out for. The late you were last Thursday is corrected to on time. Your heart does a weird 2-step fear, dancing with relief. "Where'd you come from?" you ask, because origins in office life are either very boring or a secret. "Which agency?" They tilt their head like listening to a sound you don't hear. "I'm just here to help," they say, until you're not so behind. You aren't behind. You are professionally on the edge. You are a person whose lists have lists. You watch the temp float between cubes, smoothing the air like fabric. They sign Sandra's time card when she forgets to. They fix the printer load order so it stops swallowing cover pages. They take a meeting for your manager and come back with action items that sound exactly like your manager's voice and also exactly like Sense. At 4:46 p.m., you check your hours app out of habit. It shows you clocked in at 7:58 a.m., took lunch at 12, clocked back at 12:28, and will clock out at 5:01. Will? You whisper at a screen that thinks time is a suggestion. The app shows a little note, signed by temp. You didn't ask for that. You go to the clock to punch your paper just in case. Your slot is empty. The TEMP, no record card, sits in the slot where yours should be, and it's already stamped 5:01 p.m. in the near future. You pull it out. The ink is warm. The temp passes behind you, pen tucked behind ear like a blade. Don't worry, they say. I'll make sure you get credit. For what, you ask? For what you meant to do, they say. The week elongates like taffy. The temp is everywhere that needs them 1 second before it does. They refill the coffee machine before it sighs. They pop up at the mail slots when you forget to check. They reply to an email on your behalf that saves you from a mistake you would have made if you'd had 2 hours less sleep. The reply is kinder than you are capable of on a Tuesday. What's your name? You ask on Wednesday, because it's gotten ridiculous to call them hey. They smile and give you your name, first and last. They say it perfectly, like a password field accepting the string. No, you say, half laughing. Yours. They look genuinely puzzled. I'm the temp, they say. I don't stick. At night, you dream they stand beside your bed and initial the corner of your blanket. You wake rested, like someone else slept for you. On Friday, payroll emails, missing signature on your time card. You go to the rack. The temp has already signed it. The signature looks like your dad's. The payroll portal shows the pay period approved. There's a note, adjusted to reflect actual effort. Your pay is higher by exactly the value of the work you did in your head and not in the world. You corner HR with a smile like a blade. Who's the temp really? They look at their screen. They frown, a pleasant frown. No record, they say, but they're cleared. The system says they're a continuity hire. What's that? When things would otherwise fall through, HR says, relieved to have a phrase. We bridge. You find the temp in the copy room, collating a packet for a meeting that nobody invited you to. Pages fall into neat stacks like cards in a magic trick you could learn if you didn't doubt your hands. Are you staying? You ask. After this week? I'm here until you are, they say, and you feel the sentence like a hand on your shoulder. You cannot decide if it comforts or pins. At 4:58 Friday, the floor hum changes. Everyone's looking at their phones, smiling at weekend group chats, blooming open like peonies. You go to the clock to punch, because rituals keep you held together between days. The rack is empty. No cards. No slots. The clock itself is not on the wall. A clean white rectangle shows where it lived, an obituary in paint. You spin. The temp stands where the clock stood, smiling like a person-shaped clock if a clock could feel benevolence. Don't need it anymore, they say. I signed you out. I didn't. You begin and stop. You did though. Somebody did. The app shows 5-1 stamped. Your feet feel like you've been standing for 8 hours. Your brain feels like 8 hours stood on it. What happens if I don't come back Monday? You ask, trying to make your tone toggle to joking. It lands as an honest edit of a thought you didn't know you had. The temp doesn't blink. I'll cover until you do, they say, which is somehow worse than any other answer. You imagine your chair warmed by a body that signs for you and speaks for you and keeps your name fed and watered until you appear again like a plant in spring. You go home and do nothing spectacular. You order takeout and watch an algorithm show you lives with better lighting. You think about the clock-shaped absence on the wall and the temp-shaped presence in the room. At 11:11, you make a wish like you used to. You wish to be the kind of person whose hours match their effort. You wish to be whole. On Monday, you arrive to find a new system. No more time cards. No clock. Just presents your phone pings when you enter the geofence and says, welcome. It says goodbye when you leave, sometimes before you do. The temp smiles from your chair like furniture auditioning for a catalog photo. Thanks, you say, because gratitude is a superstition you respect. I can take it from here. Of course, they say, and stand. They place your time card in the rack that isn't there. They place your signature on the line that no longer exists. They step aside like doors you don't notice, unless they're locked. Weeks later, in a meeting about how to squeeze 10 more productive minutes from the hour, someone jokes about hiring more temps. Your manager says, we already did, and looks at you like a mirror. The temp smiles from the corner of the room, where temps sit when nobody owns their name. Sometimes, at 4:46 p.m., the app pre-stamps your out time, even if you know you'll be here till 7. It does it with a trust that feels like a hug you didn't consent to. When you finally leave at 7:13, you see the temp walking toward the elevator with your shoulders. They hold a pen behind their ear. You nod like passing yourself in a window. They nod back like they are the window. One night, the power goes out. The building exhales hard and goes dark. Everyone cheers like kids at school. Emergency lights snap on. The app doesn't ping you out because the geofence is tired. In the dark, you find your way to the rack that isn't there, to the card that isn't yours. You stand where the clock used to be and pretend to push the card in and hear the chunk again. It is a ghost sound, but it is yours. Behind you, the temp whispers your name correctly first and last. They sign the night for you in the air. You feel it catch. You realize then the temp is not a person, not exactly. The temp is a room that doesn't let things fall. The temp is a signature that keeps the world from bouncing your pay. The temp is the invisible bridge your effort walks when your body can't. You do not know if this is mercy or theft. In the morning, the lights stutter back. The clock is still gone. The rack is still gone. The app tells you you've been here the exact right number of hours. HR sends a note congratulating the department on seamless transition. The temp smiles, pen behind ear, like a small god of continuity doing the only miracle it knows, signing your name so the day believes you were here. You were. You are. You hope that matters to anything but a line item. And when you forget because you will, the temp will remember for you. They always do. That's what temps are for.